You finally save $10,000 and feel like a king, but this is actually the most dangerous moment for your financial future. Most people make the exact same mistake. They see a round number in their account and their brain starts whispering that it is time to celebrate. Van wants you to know the truth. $10,000 is a psychological trap. It is enough money to feel comfortable, but absolutely not enough to be free. At this stage, your mind tries to pull you back into survival mode disguised as a reward. You start thinking about a new car or a luxury vacation because you feel rich compared to where you started. But $10,000 is not wealth, it is just a seed. If you eat the seed now, the forest will never grow. This is the stage where most people plateau for years. They save $10,000, spend $5,000, and repeat the cycle forever. To break the trap, you must treat this money as if it does not exist. It is not for spending, it is for leverage. At this level, your money is just starting to learn how to work. If you keep pushing until you hit $50,000, the momentum becomes unstoppable. But if you stop here to buy a shiny toy, you are essentially killing your golden goose before it can lay a single egg. Real winners are those who can look at $10,000 in their account and still live like they have nothing. That is how you build a real empire. Do not let the comfort of a small win rob you of a massive future. Stay hungry, stay disciplined, and keep that boulder moving up the hill. Most people are not poor because they do not earn enough. They are poor because they are being robbed by a ghost they cannot see. Imagine walking through a forest with a bucket of water, but there are tiny holes in the bottom. By the time you reach your destination, the bucket is empty. This is exactly what lifestyle inflation does to your bank account. Van sees this every day. Someone gets a raise of $500 a month, and suddenly they need a more expensive apartment and a faster internet plan. They are earning more, but their net worth is staying at zero. This is the silent killer of dreams. The ghost robbing you is your own desire to look successful before you actually are successful. True wealth is what you do not see. It is the cars not purchased, the designer clothes left on the rack, and the expensive dinners cooked at home. When you decide to upgrade your lifestyle the moment your income grows, you are essentially signing a contract to stay a slave to your job forever. You are trading your freedom for a temporary hit of dopamine. To win the game of money, you must keep your expenses low while your income reaches for the sky. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is where your freedom lives. If that gap never grows, you will always be running on a treadmill, going nowhere fast. Wealthy people buy assets that pay for their luxuries later. Poor people buy luxuries that steal their assets now. If you want to be different, you have to act different. Stop trying to look rich and start focusing on being rich. It is a long game, but it is the only one worth playing. There's a specific amount of money that turns you into a different person at work, and it is much lower than $1 million. Have you ever noticed how some people at work are always calm, even when the boss is screaming? It is not because they are brave, it is because they have walking away money. This is the most underrated financial tool in existence. When you have $20,000 in a liquid account, your body language changes. You no longer have to tolerate disrespect or toxic environments because you are not afraid of losing a paycheck. This psychological shift is worth more than the money itself. Ben knows that desperation has a scent, and employers can smell it. If they know you need every cent to pay rent, they have all the power. But when you have a cushion, you are negotiating from a position of strength. You can ask for a raise with total confidence. You can suggest bold ideas without fear. You can even walk away if the situation becomes unbearable. This freedom allows you to make better career moves that eventually led to even more wealth. Most people spend their lives in a cage of their own making because they spend everything they earn. They are trapped by their bills, but when you prioritize your walking away fund, you are buying your dignity back. It is the first step toward true independence. You do not need to be a millionaire to feel free, you just need enough to survive for a year without a boss. Once you hit that number, you will realize that the greatest luxury in the world is not a fancy watch, it is the ability to say no. Start building your freedom today. If you think that wealthy people just got lucky or had a rich father, you are missing the most important secret of the game. Most people wait for a lightning bolt of luck to hit them, but wealth is actually about building a lightning rod. Van wants to show you how the math of luck actually works. Imagine two people, one has $0 and the other has $50,000. When a massive investment opportunity appears, the first person can only watch and feel jealous. The second person can take action. Luck is just what happens when preparation meets opportunity. If you are not prepared with capital, opportunity will pass you by every single time. Wealth is not about hitting the lottery, it is about being in a position to win when the world offers a discount. Think about the stock market crashes or housing dips. To the person with no money, these are tragedies. To the person with savings, these are the biggest sales of the decade. They are not luckier, they are just ready. You build your own luck by saving when everyone else is spending. You build your own luck by learning when everyone else is scrolling. When you have money in the bank, you can afford to be patient. You can wait for the perfect moment to strike. This is why the rich get richer. It is not a conspiracy, it is just the advantage of having options. If you want more luck in your life, start by building your foundation. Stop waiting for the world to give you a break and start creating the conditions where success is inevitable. The harder you work on your finances, the luckier you will seem to everyone else. The game is rigged for those who are ready. You can earn $200,000 a year and still be 1 month away from total bankruptcy. Van has seen doctors, lawyers, and executives who are functionally poor because they don't understand one simple rule. Your salary is just a tool, not a measurement of your wealth. Most people believe that a high income solves all problems. But if your expenses grow as fast as your paycheck, you are just a bigger hamster on a bigger wheel. This is the tragedy of high-earning poverty. These people live in expensive houses they cannot afford, drive cars that belong to the bank, and wear clothes that cost more than their investments. They are trapped by the image of success. True wealth is not about what you make, it is about what you keep. If you earn $50,000 and save $10,000, you are wealthier than the man who earns $500,000 and spends every cent. The difference is freedom. The high earner is a slave to his lifestyle. He cannot stop working or he loses everything. The saver is building a ladder to independence. Wealth is the money that stays in your account while you sleep. It is the assets that produce income without your labor. Ban wants you to stop chasing a higher salary if you haven't mastered the art of keeping what you already have. Build the habit of saving first. Once you can survive on 50% of your income, you are truly invincible. Do not be the person who looks rich but has a net worth of zero. Be the person who looks average but owns their time. That is the real flex in the modern world. Your bank account should be bigger than your ego. Money speaks a language that most people never bother to learn, and that is why they struggle for their entire lives. If you think money is just paper used to buy things, you are illiterate in the financial world. Van believes that money is actually stored energy and time. Every dollar you spend is a piece of your life that you can never get back. When you look at $100 pair of shoes, you should not see leather and rubber. You should see 8 hours of your life that you traded to get them. Once you make this mental shift, your spending habits will change instantly. You will stop trading your life for junk that loses value. Instead, you will start looking for ways to buy your time back. Wealthy people use money to purchase assets that generate more money, which eventually buys them total freedom. They understand that every dollar is a little soldier that can go out and fight for them. If you spend your soldiers on coffee and fast fashion, you have no army. But if you deploy them into investments, they will bring back more soldiers every year. This is the secret language of compound interest. It is the only force in the universe that can make you rich while you sleep. But it only works if you stop bleeding your capital on things that do not matter. Learn to respect the value of a single dollar. Treat your money like a resource to be cultivated, not a burden to be discarded. When you speak the language of assets and liabilities, the world starts to look very different. Stop being a consumer and start being an owner. That is how you change your family tree forever. If you started with 1 penny and doubled it every day for 30 days, you would have over $5 million. Van loves this example because it reveals the most powerful force in finance that our human brains cannot naturally understand. We think in straight lines, but wealth grows in curves. For the first 20 days, you have almost nothing. You are doubling small amounts and it feels like a waste of time. Most people quit during this phase. They save for a year, see a small return, and decide that investing is a scam. They want the $5 million on day one, but the magic of wealth is backloaded. The massive gains happen at the very end of the process. This is why patience is the most valuable skill in the world. Compound interest is like planting an oak tree. For the first few years, it is just a tiny sprout. You could step on it and kill it instantly. But if you protect it and give it time, it becomes a giant that can weather any storm. Your first $10,000 is that tiny sprout. It does not look like much, but it is the foundation for everything else. The mistake people make is looking at their small gains and getting discouraged. They do not realize that the math is working silently in the background. Every year you stay invested, the curve gets steeper. Eventually, your money starts making more money than your job ever could. This is the tipping point where you become wealthy, but to get there, you have to survive the boring years. You have to keep watering the tree when it looks like nothing is happening. Stay the course. Debt is the ultimate anchor that keeps you stuck in the harbor while the rest of the world sails away to freedom. Ben knows that the modern world is designed to keep you in debt. From credit cards to car loans, every advertisement is trying to convince you to spend money you have not earned yet. This is financial slavery with a smile. When you carry a balance on a credit card at 20% interest, you are working for the bank, not yourself. You are giving away your future labor to pay for things you have already consumed. To build wealth, you must first break the chains. The fastest way to get rich is to stop being a source of income for someone else. Think about it. Every interest payment you make is a deposit into a billionaire-ass bank account. Why would you want to help them get richer while you stay stressed? The first step to freedom is a total war on debt. You must cut your expenses to the bone and pay off every cent you owe. Once you are debt-free, your income is finally yours. You can start investing that interest instead of paying it. The difference between paying 20% and earning 10% is a 30% swing in your net worth. It is the most immediate raise you can give yourself. Stop falling for the trap of easy payments. If you cannot afford to buy it twice with cash, you cannot afford it. Live like no one else now, so you can live like no one else later. Your future self is begging you to stop borrowing from tomorrow to pay for today. Break the cycle and start owning your life. Wealth is not a number in a bank account. It is a state of mind that determines every action you take. Ben has noticed that rich people and poor people think about time in completely different ways. Poor people think about how to spend their time to get money. They trade hours for dollars. This is a losing game because you only have 24 hours in a day. Wealthy people think about how to use money to buy time. They look for ways to disconnect their income from their labor. This shift in perspective changes everything. It leads you to build businesses, create content, or invest in stocks. These are systems that work even when you are on vacation. Another major difference is how they handle failure. Most people see a loss as a reason to stop. They try an investment, lose $100, and say they will never do it again. Wealthy people see losses as the price of admission. They know that you have to fail a few times to find the winner. They do not get emotional about money. They treat it like a game of strategy. If you want to be wealthy, you have to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a producer. Stop asking how much something costs and start asking how much it can earn you. Stop looking for security and start looking for opportunity. The world does not give you what you want. It gives you what you deserve based on your habits. Change your mind, and your bank account will follow. Wealth starts between your ears before it ever hits your wallet. Be the person who sees the world as a place of abundance. The biggest financial mistake you will ever make is believing that your home is your greatest investment. Ben knows this sounds crazy because everyone tells you to buy a house as soon as possible. But let us look at the reality. A house is a liability that takes money out of your pocket every single month. You have property, taxes, insurance, maintenance, and interest. Unless you are renting out rooms, your house is not paying you. In fact, after you account for all the costs and inflation, most homes barely break even over 30 years. The real winners in real estate are the banks who collect the interest and the government that collects the taxes. Ben is not saying you should never buy a house, but you should not view it as a wealth builder. It is a lifestyle choice. If you tie up all your capital in a massive down payment, you are losing the opportunity to invest that money in assets that actually grow, like the stock market or a business. Many people are house poor. They have a beautiful kitchen but $0 in their retirement account. They are one job loss away from losing everything. True wealth comes from owning things that pay you to own them. A house does the opposite. Before you sign a 30-year mortgage, ask yourself if you are buying a dream or a cage. If your house costs more than 30% of your income, it is a cage. Focus on building an investment portfolio first. Once your investments can pay for your mortgage, then you are truly winning. Do not let the white picket fence become a fence that keeps you from your freedom. The secret to becoming a millionaire is so boring that most people refuse to believe it, so they keep looking for shortcuts. Ben wants to give you the golden rule. It is not about timing the market, it is about time in the market. Everyone wants to find the next big stock or the next crypto coin that will go to the moon overnight. They treat the stock market like a casino. But the people who actually build lasting wealth are the ones who buy diversified index funds and do absolutely nothing for 20 years. They embrace the boredom. They understand that the economy has a natural upward bias over the long term. By owning a piece of the 500 largest companies, you are betting on human ingenuity and progress. This is a bet that has paid off for over 100 years. The problem is that our brains are wired for excitement. We want to react to the news. We want to sell when the market drops and buy when it is at an all-time high. This is the recipe for disaster. Ban's advice is simple. Automate your investments. Set it so that a portion of your paycheck goes into the market before you even see it. Then, ignore the headlines. Stop watching the daily fluctuations. The market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. If you can master your emotions and stay invested through the red days, you will eventually reach the green horizon. You do not need to be a genius to be rich, you just need to be more disciplined than the average person. Consistency is the only superpower that matters in the world of money. The most important investment you will ever make is not in real estate, gold, or Bitcoin. It is the person looking back at you in the mirror. Ban wants you to realize that your ability to earn an income is your most valuable asset. If you are 20 years old, your future earnings are worth millions of dollars. But many people let this asset stagnate. They stop learning the moment they leave school. They work the same job, use the same skills, and wonder why their income never grows. In the modern world, the more you learn, the more you earn. Investing in your own education and skills has a return that no stock market can match. A $1,000 course that teaches you a high-value skill could lead to a $10,000 raise every single year for the rest of your life. That is a 1,000% return in the first year alone. Wealthy people are obsessed with self-improvement. They read books, attend seminars, and find mentors. They understand that they are the engine of their own wealth. If the engine is weak, the car will not go far. But if you constantly upgrade your mind, you become more valuable to the marketplace. You become recession-proof. No one can take your skills away from you. Even if you lost all your money tomorrow, a high-value person could build it all back in a fraction of the time. Stop looking for external miracles and start looking for internal growth. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. When you become a person of high value, money will chase you. This is the ultimate secret to financial freedom. You are the architect of your own destiny.